everybody. We're live. Yay. I'm so excited to be here with you. It's Trish Carr from Women's Prosperity Network with another episode of Be Real, Get Real with one of the fantastic members of Women's Prosperity Network. And this show is all about getting to know people. One of the things we realize at Women's Prosperity Network is we want to be authentically us. And when you are real, when you can be real and you can get real about what's going on in the world, what's going on in your life, you can achieve real results. So it is my pleasure to welcome you all today and to introduce you to this amazing, extraordinary woman, Dr. Patricia Rogers, who so many of you know. It's so interesting. The reason we do this show is because we don't do business with businesses. We do business with people. So it's about who are the people? Who are the people behind the business? And this woman is on stages all across the world. She's spoken in Europe this year. Next year, she's in Dubai. She's all over. But let me tell you, she is such a real woman. And I'll never forget the first time I met her. Dr. Patricia Rogers is amazing. She's a retired Army veteran of 12 years. She spent 29 years in law enforcement. And when she retired, she created her business and she's the CEO of Unity in Service. And her zone of genius is creating amazing events. For the past 7 years, she's created events where she takes pride in setting a platform for public speakers to speak and entrepreneurs to connect and build professional networks. She's known as the visibility strategist. She provides legal and identity theft services. She is amazing. Please help me welcome Dr. Patricia Rogers.
Ooh, can you hear me okay, Trish? Am I coming in loud and clear?
You are coming in loud and clear, my sister. So nice to see you today.
Yeah, same to you, sweetheart. Always a joy to connect with my fabulous leaders.
Yes, well, I'll tell
mentors.
I really do remember the first time we met. We were having a Women's Prosperity Network networking mastermind lunch in Fort Lauderdale. And you came in, and when you walked in the room, I mean, you've heard of presence. Well, this woman came in the room, and as soon as she came in, it was like angels went, oh! Like you knew she was there. She had a huge smile on her face. She brought joy. She brought fun. And it's been like that ever since we met 7 years ago, right?
Wow. That's awesome. And it's amazing you say that because it's amazing that all of that showed what you just described. It's amazing. I would not have known that was what was showing on the outside.
Absolutely.
Because if you only knew how I felt on the inside, I was just so afraid. I just didn't know what to do. I was just a mess at that time because I was coming up on my retirement. And I knew that I felt like when I walked in that room, which Allison invited me to that event. I was at another networking event. I met her because I was trying to find my way, and I said, I know I can't go back to work and go through the abuse and all that stuff. I said, I got to find what these entrepreneurs are doing out here. And when she invited me to you guys and I came there, I know you was up in the front of the group speaking. Yep. I don't know if it was a speaking. I saw that little lady on there where y'all have for public speaking on the platform. But at any rate, yeah, I came to that. And when I walked in there, I felt a sense of relief.
Oh, wow.
I felt like I had found a new home. And that day, if you remember, I signed up for the gold membership.
Yes, I do.
I think I signed up for an annual membership. And then after I heard more and more and more later, I think I called you guys. And I said, can I pay the difference? Because I'm in for life. I want to do it forever. So yeah, I came with intention. I came with intention to connect.
It was amazing. And you really, truly you have a presence about you. When you're in the room, people know. So it shocks me to hear that back then, 7 years ago, you had just retired and you were walking in the room and you were not confident. Because when I think of you, I think of someone who's just knows who she is authentically herself. So how is it you had no confidence back then? You had just left a a really amazing career of almost 30 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We only had to do 25, and I did an extra 4 for my retirement purposes, because
It's
that gave
funny
us
how
some
you say
extra.
that. You say it's like do it. We only had to do 25 of it, as if you were the one in jail.
That's kind of funny, Trish. That was funny. I like that. That was cute. I never
It's
heard it. I
true.
never heard it.
We only had to do
Oh my God.
25, but I did
Yeah,
an
yeah,
extra
yeah. You're
4.
funny. You're funny. That was cute. I like the way you brought that in with my career. But
Yeah.
yeah, even those years I was working in my career in military. I don't know if you said anything about the 12 years that I did in the military. When I
Yes.
was in my 20s, I went into the military. And of course, after I got out of the military, right, well, I was still in the military because I was in the reserves. And I heard about the job in Dade County Corrections. And my goal and my dream was always to get a good job.
Mm,
To be honest with you, I didn't even know it was a career. So it's a lot
hmm.
of things you don't know until you get around the right people and you start learning. I took the job because my friends took the job. They told me about the job. But I knew it was a good job. They gave me clothes. They paid for my uniforms. They paid for my food. Basically, we eat for pretty little or nothing. They gave us our uniform allowances. um they pay for my training, and because I
Yeah.
had been in the military and I was so structured already, and then coming out of the church, the disciplines I have, I wanted a job like corrections because it gave me everything that I needed.
Well, it certainly did for 29
you know
years.
yeah.
And they were
And it was
lucky to
structured
have you.
uniforms. I love uniforms. I love, being organized. I love being, just so it was a perfect thing. But Trish, I said all that to say that even when I was in the military, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know the value that I possess. And I never applied to elevate in rank. I always felt I wasn't gonna pass it anyway. I'm not gonna do good anyway. I'm not gonna, and that's really how I came up in my life, believing that I was never good enough or good as.
Yeah.
But other people would always tell me, "You are so confident." So, truth be told, I didn't even know what all that meant back then. But it's amazing how other people see in us what we don't see in ourselves.
Yeah.
And therefore, we have to glean sometimes when we are insecure in our own feelings. We have to glean off of other people's belief in us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, and then I went into corrections, and it was 8 years before I took the corpus exam because I didn't feel like I was gonna pass it. And it was 8 years. I could have took the test in 2 years. And I kept putting it off. I'm not gonna pass it. I'm not, just wait and see what happened. And when I took it the first time, I did not study because I still wasn't confident.
Yeah.
And when I flunked that test the first time because I didn't study. But when I got in there and I saw how easy that test was, oh, did I beat myself up. And so what happened after that, the next 2 years came around. I went in with both feet. I was out in the community libraries training other people how to take the test because I had test questions for every policy in the books. And it was just amazing how things turn around when you change your mindset. It's all about the mind. And I realized that even after I took the test and then I started getting passed over for promotions and so forth, different things and the challenges that was coming in the organization from the politics in the workplace, I didn't know at the time that people pick on you when you have value. Mm. So if you don't know your value, you will let those negative things that or behaviors that other people put out, you will allow them to stop you in your tracks. You will allow fear to overcome you because of the repercussions that can come from just you being you. But when I learned that I had value, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I think I probably have gained more confidence even since I have become an entrepreneur.
Oh
And
yeah.
and that's
Oh
what
yeah.
the coaches do, is bring out the best in us. And when we follow those who have what we want and we do what they do, you're going to be developed and you're going to get what they get. I mean, this thing is awesome. It's awesome. So I don't know. I could go on and on and on.
I
But
know,
yeah,
it's so I'm sure that people watching, and I'm getting some comments, hey, Patricia Rogers, wow, looking forward to today's message, and she's an amazing woman. Lots of great comments in the
thank you.
chat. And that's the person you are today. And it really is surprising to hear you say that at one point you lacked confidence. So how did you What'd you do to build it, to get where you were? Because right now you are a woman who is really comfortable in your skin.
Well, let
How'd
me
you
give
get that way?
okay, I'm gonna try to say this in 2 or 3 minutes to give you a little back history. I came up in a family with my mother had 8 kids. I was the last of 8. We moved to Florida when I was age 2. Everybody else had already been down there, so I came last. My mom left my dad because he was an alcoholic. I didn't know about all of that at the time. I just know, And then I lived in a bedroom. We had a 3-bedroom home. I lived in a room with 2 sisters. We slept in one room, 2 sisters, 5 boys in another bedroom. Mom was in the 3rd bedroom. We had to use one bathroom. And like I said, so I can remember times sitting on my front porch licking the peanut butter on the spoon, saying, "I'll be glad when Mama come home," because we knew Mom was gonna go in there and find some food in that kitchen. So, and going to school, I remember when my mother would sew my clothes. I never could go to the store. She would go shopping. My mother was a seamstress, so she would always make my little new dresses for school. My point is this, and I wasn't able to have what we call the name brands and all of those things. So I went through life pretending that I was happy when I really wasn't happy.
Mm.
I felt so left out, so alone. I couldn't go because of my church. My mom religious, I believe. I couldn't wear shorts. I couldn't wear pants. I couldn't go to parties. I couldn't go to the park. I got a beating because I was selected to be on the softball team and they had to wear shorts. I could go on and on. So now I said all of that, which the list goes on, which took me into bad relationships because I didn't know what love was about. You know why? Because I didn't love me. I didn't know who I was. I didn't love me. I wanted to meet somebody that would fix me. I fix them, they fix me, and then we'll live happily ever after. Well, that don't
Right.
work. Y'all know that don't work.
No.
So,
No.
yeah. So I said all of that to say that, why I am where I am today in the confidence that I have is because I have worked on me. I took my eyes off of the friends that I thought were better than me. I took my eyes off of the men who I thought could give me what I need. I took my eyes off of everything around me and I realized you need to focus on you because I am the only one through a lot of teaching and knowledge and other knowledge from other, that I picked up along the way. I had to learn it. I had to figure this thing out. And when I learned that it comes from me and it's on the inside of me, because the church didn't teach me that. But what the church did teach me is that not only I'm saying I had to love myself, I'm saying to everybody else that they have to know the value. I had to know the value that I possess. And I've learned that on this entrepreneur journey. I've learned that. I knew that in corrections later on. And that's why I kept taking the test. I've learned that no matter what you want in life, you got to persevere. You got to be persistent. And no matter what you think people may think or say, you got to know within yourself that you know that you are capable. You are qualified. And I know y'all have heard this one. You are more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you had to believe in yourself. I had to believe in myself. And I had to know, I had to come to group to know that if anybody can make it happen, and the only way it's going to happen is you have to do it. So I feel I learned that through implementation, knowledge plus implementation brings results.
Yes.
And every time I achieve a goal, I don't care how big or small it is, I pat myself on the back. I give myself credit. And then, of course, the last thing I want to say is this that contributed to who I am today is God. You have to have a belief in a power that's greater than you. It could be a doorknob. I don't care. I don't care. It could be the tree. I don't care. But it has to be somebody that have your back. But I know that even when I don't get what I want, if I'm going through a challenge and it don't turn out just the way I want to, I know that God has my best interest at hand. And I know he sees farther than I can see. That's faith. And we have to have that. If we don't have faith in somebody greater than us or something greater than us, then guess what? A lot of us will fall by the wayside. And this is why communities are so important. You have to have a belief in something or somebody that's greater and have more than you that can pour into you. How about that? Don't make me shout on this platform.
That is the truth, my sister. You are absolutely right. And you have to have, like you said, you have to have faith that everything that happens to me is the best thing that can happen to me, that I'm being taken care of, that I'm so lucky, like looking at things like that rather than, oh, why me? When you look at it as if I'm getting what I'm supposed to be getting and I'm taking it all in, it's so much easier to live
Yeah.
in this life. So much easier. But you have really, I have watched you over the 7 years. When you first,
8.
uh,
Don't cut my
oh,
time
eight,
short.
it's eight
I'm
now.
I'm growing. I'm going on 9 years with you
There you
guys.
go. Well, wow, that's a long time. That's a long time. And when you first got started, you were doing Legal Shield full time, and then
Yeah.
you got into doing events, and then COVID happened. And talk
Yeah.
about, everybody talked about pivoting,
Yeah.
but you just went with the flow. Like,
Yeah.
how did you do that? Events totally shut down, and that was your business. So,
Mhm.
how did you pivot to being someone now who not only does events now that they're back, but you do trainings, you do mentoring, you coach people? How did you get from that, oh my gosh, my business is closed, to doing what you did to stay alive and viable during that time?
Well, what happened when I had to give back that $14,000 that I had planned for that May event for that year? And I gave everybody back their money because COVID did not go away. It only got worse. So I said, "Oh, just give the people back their money." I felt like God was speaking to me, saying, "You're in a crisis." So nobody had to ask me to give the money back. Give them
Right.
the money back because we are all in a crisis. And because of the faith and the confidence I have in God, I knew that I would be okay. But it hurt me to have to do that because that was one of my best years. And I
Yeah, and
hadn't even sold tickets yet.
$14,000 is
Yeah, I hadn't
nothing
even
to
sold
sneeze
tickets. So
at.
that was one of my best years. I learned how to manage the money better, And true enough, when Nancy came onto the platform and she met with all of the organizations, all of the chapters, she said, "Ladies, do not lose sight of your vision. All you have to do is pivot." And I told you, sometimes you got to you always have to have a power greater than you, or a person that you can believe in greater than you. And when Nancy said that, because I had already been mimicking you guys so much, you're such an admiration to my life. And I watched your disciplines and everything. Y'all just something else, I tell you. And when she says that, if Nancy says you can do it, I'm going to do it. If you say I can do it, because y'all know. Y'all know what I don't know about me. And when I need to be pushed over the edge, that's why I hire you guys to help push me over the edge too. And that's what I did. I hosted that first event, and I knew from the trainings that we get, whether it was from you, Sharon Lecter, Bia Walsh, all of you influencers, I always heard you have to be consistent. So I knew that if I did it the first time, I got to keep doing it. Bill Walsh always used to say, well, if you do something 100 times, you become an expert. So those kinds of things is what sticks with us and help us to grow, is getting that information from you all who are influencers who have already done it. And then all I have to do is implement the process, duplicate the process, whatever.
Mhm.
So that's what happened. And once I started, I just kept hosting. And when people buy a ticket or people buy a position to speak, basically select one of the spots that they want to speak in, the first ticket is always to me, my notification from God. Okay, go ahead and move forward. It's okay.
Yeah, you're doing the right thing. You're doing things you should do. Well, I mean, I love that you say that Women's Prosperity Network had so much to do with your success. So I want to invite
Mhm.
everybody to go ahead and get your membership started if you're not already a member. And I know that you are an extraordinary person.
Thank
And
you.
you know that about yourself now too. And
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing, I think, is that you, from that woman who walked in the room, who I saw as a light, I saw as someone who is lighting up a room, and you internally were nervous and not confident. I mean, you have totally grown into that extraordinary woman that you've
Thank
always
you.
been.
And I credit it to WPN, and I credit myself because I stuck and I stayed. And because I'm still looking for even more. And I always believe, and I say to anyone, I'm gonna say how I feel it. If God has already blessed you to make it to this point where you are, why quit? Why
Yeah.
not just keep moving? Because there's always more. And a lot of times the challenges stops us. But when you know that what you do and what you have is good, and you just have to do it no matter what, and no matter even being on social media. people may comment 1 or 2 comments to a post, you can't quit because of that, because I can guarantee you every people are watching and they're not saying anything. And those same people
Uh-huh.
will come to me a month later and say, hey, I want to speak at one of your events. But if I never made those posts and I quit, I won't get the business that I get, the coaching, the whatever it is that, I'm able to do for people, individuals. So all I can say is, yeah, your confidence grows extremely when you get the knowledge. And I know we get a lot of that in this organization. I'm just saying. But what most builds your confidence is implementation.
Yes.
Try it. I always tell myself, try it, because you won't know if it works until you try it.
Yes,
And it always
absolutely.
works. And so
Yes.
that's one way, is definitely to build confidence. And definitely you have to believe in yourself. When you get fearful, because I get afraid sometimes when I have to do some things, I have that thought, oh, what if nobody shows up for this particular event I'm gonna host? What if no, when I get fearful, I know, to me, that's a sign something finna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Something get ready to happen. When Pat Rogers get a little nervous and shaking, I already know something's getting ready to happen. So we got to know our triggers. We got to know the good things that follow even before we get what we want. We got to know the emotions that follow, because they play a major role, you know. And some people get fearful and they quit. No, you get
Mm-hmm.
fearful, that should drive you and fuel you to say, you ain't gonna trick me out of this. And I say, no, you ain't finna trick me out of this. So, and I keep moving and I do it no matter what. And what else we have to do is be grateful for what God gives us. I've hosted over 30 some events online. My first event had about 80 people at the event on the platform. All
Yeah.
these events are coming up all over the place. I have not had that number yet. And sometimes I have even paid for extra space because I had 140 some people buy a ticket, but then some of those are complimentary. But then the bottom line is, then I still might get 50 or 60 people. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
I'm like, no. And I ask God for at least 100 every time. But you know what? I'm gonna keep asking him for 100. But at the end of the day, whatever he give me, honey, I tell him thank you, because
Exactly.
it's more than I would have had if I didn't have nothing. And if I don't touch
Exactly.
with one person come to the event on January 12th. If one person come, I'm going to talk to that person and do my thing, just like I got 50, 60, 70 people there, because that's what God has called us to do. And when we learn to walk in our calling, no matter what, if we learn that we will go, no matter if we have to go by ourselves, if we learn that if we can just follow through, knowing that God has your back, knowing that he have people like you guys put in place who's going to hold our arms up when we can't hold our arms up no more. If we only trust the process, and I can't say it enough, I'm getting goose pimples. This thing ain't easy. This thing ain't hard. It's all about getting your eyes off of Sally, take them off of Jane, get them off Sue, because you worried about the wrong thing, and look in that mirror and say, am I doing all I can do to get me everything that I want while I'm alive in this life? Because we don't get to do it
Woo-hoo! You are
twice. Woo,
so
woo, woo,
right.
woo, woo. We don't get to do it twice.
You No, you are so right. So I know you have an event coming up in January, and one of the things I really love about your events is that you bring diverse types of people together, which I really love. I mean, people from all over attend, and I always meet really quality people like you who are just doing what they got to do and taking one foot in front of the other. So January, I know you have one coming up, and depending on when you're watching this video, could be 6 months from now. All the information is always at patriciarogers.com, right?
The information is at patriciarogers360.com under events. That can connect with me on all of my social media platforms, social media sites there. And there's a button, I think, that says events. And if you click that icon, it will take them to, oh, by the way, I'm glad you brought that up. The tickets are $15 until January the 1st. Tomorrow, Sunday, I think we said Sunday, we're taking it back up to 47. But we always, so we've
You
done pretty
always
good.
offer, yeah, your early bird specials. And
Yeah.
I think that's a big key to success too, is people saying, okay, I'll go. And then when they go, they're in for life. Like, I don't like to miss
Yeah.
your events because they're so great.
And
So make
thank you
sure
so
you go
much.
to patriciarogers360.com and check
Yeah.
out whatever she's got coming up next, because you want to be a part of it. She
Yeah,
does an ex-
we're gonna show
great job.
everybody how the secrets that I use to create wealth in hosting events. I'm gonna share my secrets and I'm gonna share some strategies that I use so that some people who host free can understand that they can take that free and turn it into money,
Yes.
as you always say, and enhance their bottom line. We're going to
Yes.
just talk a little bit about just how the profiling across social media, because I've had people tell me that they need to do better in this area. So when people say things to me, that's kind of how I focus some of the events too when it comes to training. So this will be a one-on-one. People are going to be to ask questions. I'm going to be the facilitator for part of that. Doss is going to be a facilitator. I have a couple of ladies from WPN. And Roseanne, she just joined, became a member. She's going to be one of my
Yes.
spotlight speakers. And I have Jane, but Jane, I had to change the date, so she's going to speak in April instead of this time. But I messed up.
Yeah,
Anyway, I love her.
whatever.
She's so sweet. And so we're
Whatever.
looking forward to having a good time. Pastor Dorothy, of course, is always the co-host. You know how that goes. So
Hmm.
I can certainly tell God thank you, and I want to say thank you to you and Trish, because you and Nancy and Susan, because I know I've had other mentors, but WPN, because of the training, keeps me going, lets me know that it's nothing that comes into my creative mindset, according to Napoleon Hill, that I can't do. And I know that I just want to say thank you guys, because I am in the right place.
Well, it is such a pleasure, really. From that first moment you walked in that room, I was like, this woman is somebody. And I'm so happy
Oh,
that you're a part of this community and the contribution that you make. And, you know, you really are somebody who walks the talk and
oh,
walks the
but thank
walk.
you.
It is true. So I appreciate you. I hope that all of you have enjoyed getting to know Dr. Patricia Rogers a
Yeah,
little bit better than you did, and that you'll join her in her many events that she does throughout the year. Just go to
yeah,
Dr. Patricia Rogers 360.com and you can find out what she's got coming on. She always does. So, Dr.
awesome.
Pat, thank you so
Yeah,
much. I appreciate you being with us today, and I appreciate all of you for watching and for sharing this broadcast. You see that little button there that says share? Go ahead and share that, because
well,
we
you
could
know I'm
all
sure when
use,
I'm finished, don't you? You know it's gonna be all over social media when I'm done.
I know it. We could all use a little boost of confidence, and listening to
Yeah,
this woman and what she's done, gone from somebody who was really scared to somebody who's
yeah.
totally happy in her world. She's somebody we all
That
want to
I
emulate.
created.
That's exactly right. And takes
That we
the
created. That's right, ladies.
we created. That's exactly right. So pat yourselves on the back, because Pat Rogers knows that when you suit up and show up, things happen for you.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. And thank you, Patricia Rogers. Appreciate you all so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. And we'll
Love you,
see you
Trish.
again soon. Love you back. We'll see you again soon with another episode of Be Real, Get Real with Women's Prosperity Network.
Whoop,
Take
whoop,
care,
whoop, whoop,
everybody.
whoop, whoop.